Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join us in welcoming, I'm old enough, I can say it, the dynamic duo. We've got Dr. David and Dorothy Shearer. Welcome.
Great to be here.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. What are we celebrating today? Well, pretty simple. No, I'm not going to tell you that it's National Dimples Day because, I might get people that get upset with me. But that's normal. I'm used to it. Today's National Sugar Cookie Day. I've beaten anorexia. Well, those sugar cookies look good, Josh. We even put frosting on them. Now, the sugar cookies I'm used to in my family, what we've done for years, not as much anymore, but my mom used to, when she was with us, make sugar cookies at the holidays and had these molds so she could make a menorah and she could make a star and all these good things. So having beaten anorexia, the sugar cookies, I like those. And being that it is the weekend eve, Josh, I had to go here. Tomorrow's going to be National French Fry Day. And I don't know whether they go together or not, but it's also National Pina Colada Day. So if we go out, I know, look at Josh. You can't see him. I guess Josh is not a fan of pina coladas. They're not bad, though. If you're out by the pool and it's 110 degrees, pina colada isn't bad, especially when you're in Maui. Of course, nothing's bad when you're in Maui, but I digress. Let's move right along and see what's going on the markets today. So we've got the S&P 500 is up 49.5 points. The Dow Jones up 188. NASDAQ is up 232 points. 10-year Treasury down 2.5 basis points. 4.55 is the yield on that 10-year Treasury. And the mortgage bond, look at that one. The mortgage bond is up 24 basis points. Yahoo! Yeah, we like that. Stop that. So why? Because when the bond goes up, rates go down. And isn't it ironic? Now, I don't know how many of you are old like me, but I remember a long time ago when you would see, overseas conflicts like we've got going on right now. You'd see the 10-year Treasury, people would be buying those bonds, so the 10-year Treasury would go down. Flight to safety is what they would call that. The mortgage bond would follow it. The stock market would be going down. It wouldn't be going up. But now we look at these things and it's anymore, I guess, with what's going on over in the Middle East, it's, I wouldn't say this, but it's the markets are saying it. It's like ho-hum, right? I mean, you look at oil right now, even though we've got all this fighting in the Middle East, oil's down $1.47 a barrel. It's $72.05 a barrel. Now, Yes, I have to say it. I'm broadcasting from California. Most of the country is seeing a benefit in gas prices. Now, the last couple of days, they've gone up. California, don't laugh at us. We're still at $5.38 a gallon of gasoline. $5.38 a gallon. Yes, thank you, Gavin. But he wants to be the president. So maybe the rest of the country is going to see the same thing if they vote for Gavin. But I digress. Let's move right along and see. Gas prices are coming back down a little bit, or they will, with a savings of $1.44 a barrel. I noticed that Saudi Arabia jumping on the bandwagon. They're basically saying that they're going to increase their output of oil. Is OPEC dead? I'm just going to throw that out there that, UAE already left OPEC. The U.S. is an oil exporting country, even though California gets our oil from Iraq. Try and figure that one out. But the idea here is the market is shifted. So the Middle East doesn't have as big a hold on this as it once did. And that's probably the reason we're seeing that oil is down $1.42 a barrel right now. Jobless claims, those came in, they're a little better than expected. The market was looking for 218,000 first-time jobless claims. It came in at 215,000, a little bit better. But, if you watch our weekend updates, which I hope you do, you'll notice that we talk about that on a regular basis. What's going on? Why are we seeing what's happening? Now, I get in this debate with a mastermind group that I'm on, usually about 6:30 California time every morning. And they're talking about, okay, when is the Fed, which only deals with discount rates, the overnight rates, when are they going to increase interest rates? And I come back and say they're not. Now, I'm going to be the one that tells you, if you haven't heard this anywhere else, and I know you can look at the CME and see what the markets are saying, but I'm going to tell you my opinion, and I'm right, that we're not going to see any changes to the Fed funds rate until at least the December meeting. Why? Well, they have a meeting this month. Kevin Warsh does not want to look like he's in the pocket of the president. So they're not going to change rates. September and October, those are right before elections. Not going to change rates. So the first time we're going to see any kind of change, in my opinion, if we see anything at all this year, which probably won't, that will be at the December 9th meeting of the Federal Reserve. So you can go and put that down. Now, one of the beauties of radio, and I'm going to tell you a little inside baseball right here. If I'm right, Josh will pull that clip out and we'll play it. If I'm wrong, we just won't say anything. We'll move right along. That's just the way radio goes. I throw that out there. But we're going to learn today, and it's something that, most of us, I think we can all agree, and then we don't agree on a lot of things. We're going to talk to today's broadcast. Josh, you won't believe this. Today's broadcast, everything we're going to talk about today are things that I think everybody will agree with. So we're going to talk about this new bill that's going to go into effect tomorrow. Can you imagine a bill going through the Senate 85-5 and through the House of Representatives 358-32? It's called the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. So we're going to talk about that. Looks like almost everybody agrees. And we're going to talk about maybe an alternative to traditional insurance. Now, I talk to thousands of people all the time. I haven't heard anybody that says, something, I'm really looking forward to getting my medical insurance bill. Haven't heard anybody say that. So maybe there's alternatives. Maybe there's a better way. I actually just got a message from one of my doctors saying that his son, who's also a family doctor, going into concierge medicine. But we're going to have a conversation about some of this and more. Reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, shame on you. but the replay's available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com, and every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They don't tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the important number. That's the one you put in your mortgage calculator to figure out your principal and interest payment. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, again, shame on you. rsrlinks.com/calculators. There's over 90 illustrators right there to illustrate anything in your world of finance. rsrlinks.com/calculators. Rates yesterday, mixed bag. Conventional 30-year fixed, 6.569, that was up. Jumbo 30-year fixed, 6.638, that was up. FHA 30-year fixed, 6.302, that was down. VA 30-year fixed, 6.161, that was up. USDA 30-year fixed, 6.243, that was down. Each week I put out a commentary about our thoughts on the market. rsrlinks.com/WUC. rsrlinks.com/WUC. That's the weekend update for consumers as opposed to the one that goes to the financial advisors and the realtors. But what's driving the market today? What's happening in the market today? Well, we've got the S&P 500 now up 49 points. 10-year Treasury is down almost 3 basis points, and the mortgage bond is up 24 basis points. Why? Well, oil prices as measured by WTI are a bit lower right now, $72.12 a barrel as we record it, despite more U.S. strikes in Iran last night and the Strait of Hormuz remaining essentially closed. U.S. military launched a second night of strikes against Iranian targets, hitting 90 targets inside Iran, including missile and drone storage sites and air defense systems. Iran retaliated with targeted attacks on U.S. bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar. Ukraine has been ramping up attacks on Russia's oil refineries. Last week, they struck Russia's 4th largest refinery, and just yesterday were able to strike their largest in Omsk. I think that's how you say it, OMSK. As a result, Russia announced a short-term ban on diesel because they are no longer able to refine the crude oil, but this is leading to more exports of Russian crude oil, which can help supply. Later this afternoon, there's going to be a 30-year bond auction following a pretty strong 10-year auction yesterday that did help yields improve a bit. The Fed minutes from the June 17th Fed meeting were released yesterday afternoon. Warsh did not shorten the minutes, but they did show a divided Fed. 8 members foresee no rate changes this year. 1 predicts a cut. He always predicts a cut. And 9 are expecting at least 1 hike. Clearly, there's a lot of division with the Fed, although they all voted with Warsh to leave rates unchanged at the meeting. Most Fed members felt that inflation would be coming down due to lower oil prices and diminishing tariff impacts. Remember, this was all before this latest skirmish in Iran. Again, this was before oil prices dipped further and some of the latest geopolitical events. They felt the risk to a weaker labor market moderated, although this was before, again, the latest BLS jobs report, which was weak and only showed 57,000 jobs created in June, and big downside revisions to the previous 2 months. While the markets viewed this Fed meeting as hawkish and are pricing in at least one rate cut this year, I have told you Warsh will have them doing nothing, which sometimes when the Fed does nothing, that's good. Existing home sales released this morning showing that closings on existing homes in June fell by 2.4% to an annualized pace, 4.09 million units, which was weaker than estimates, looking for a 0.7% rise. May report was revised by a 0.5% higher, which makes today's miss look worse from the original reported figure. Sales fell 1.9% on a year-over-year basis. Sales are still up 2.8%. Sales in the Northeast rose, while in the Southwest and Midwest saw declines because homes in the Northeast are higher priced comparatively. The median home price rose to a record high. Remember, median home price measures the middle-priced home that sold during the month, not appreciation. So the mix of homes that sold has a big influence. Median home prices rose 2.2% to $440,000, which is up 1.8%. Existing inventory fell 0.6% to 1.56 million units, which was up 1.3 year over year. This does include homes under contract, which is not real available inventory. Active listings are only 1.1 million. Very, very tight. And I already told you about initial jobless claims, so I'm not going to tell you that again. Go back and listen to what we already said. That's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com. So this morning we are very excited to listen to Dr. Dave and Dorothy Shearer, co-authors of the Life Wellness Collective. Co-author. So it's the first thing I always ask everybody. When you're an author, is the book available on Audible for those of us that can't read?
It is not available on Audible, so reading is important, Ron.
Okay, so I'll have to find somebody that can read to me. Yeah, it's kind of like when I was 5 or 6 years old. I guess it goes back to then. But in any event, we'll get to the so you know something that's even more important that I have you on the program. Tell me a little bit about the book.
Yes, thank you so much, Ron, and pleasure to be on the show and to speak here today. The Life Wellness Collective is just that. It's a collective of our thoughts, but also a lot of factual information that speaks to our journey and understanding of our health state and status today, and also add some alternative dimensions to how we perceive our health and what we can consider doing that might make a difference long term. And also we introduce the concept of health sharing.
Wait a second. Now, unfortunately, I've been going to a lot of doctors lately. And the one thing that I hear from the doctors is, we can't share that. It's all personal HIPAA information. So what are you talking about when you're dealing with health sharing? What is that? What are you talking about there?
Yes, so it's actually the cost, Ron. So this is around sharing, people coming together as a community and it's based on biblical principle of Galatians, the book of Galatians, and it's sharing one another's burdens. So this is a community coming together, and when there's medical needs, the community shares those needs and eases the financial burden across our community.
You know, that's an interesting concept, and I've got a friend, I think I mentioned to you before we went on air, that has told me a little bit about it, not a whole lot, but you hear constantly about all these expenses with healthcare, and you're in the medical world. I'm not. I'm but I'm an outspoken, so, and I don't know whether you are, but I get outspoken, and I talk about these trial lawyers that I think they're probably the biggest cause of our costs, just from this medical expenses, the old CYA. And does this address any of that?
It's interesting, the CYA perspective. We're always taught as we go through our medical education. I'm a physician by training. Dorothy is a master's prepared nurse by training. we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly in healthcare, Ron, and because of that, we've always been taught if it's not written down, it didn't happen. And we know that that's an issue, that if there is litigation, that's the first thing that's examined. What did you do? How did you do it? And if it's written down, did you actually do it or not? But this is not medical advice. We are not insurance. We're not giving medical advice. But we're speaking from a state of wisdom and understanding of our medical experiences that we've had.
So this is a community of people helping each other. We're responsible for our efforts of living, but when it becomes a burden, then so it goes from a load to a burden. That's when the community comes together.
So what does that mean? I don't understand when it comes from a load to a burden. Can you help me understand that?
So every day we're responsible for living healthy, let's say. So we know that the air we breathe, the water that we drink is not the best. So we do things to alter that to make it a little bit more healthy. So by living healthy, it's just being well, knowing where your food comes from, pure water, taking a walk, getting sleep, just the basics of life.
That's an interesting concept, especially, when you look around and I'm on the opposite end of the world of you two. So when I went through college, and I got 3 degrees in college in a short period of time, but I couldn't spell science. So I knew absolutely nothing about science until I started this, I call it a wellness journey, of getting certified in several different peptides. And, it's a whole different area, because you start looking and you say, okay, what is it? 70% of the world is obese, or the country is obese. So when you're talking about putting this group together, how do you deal with that? I mean, because I knew as a morbidly obese individual that I was not doing what was right for my health, but I didn't have the ability of changing.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you deal with that when you're dealing with the group like you're talking about?
Go ahead.
I think it starts with education, Ron, from our perspective anyway, and that's what makes what we're creating with our company Care Exchange very unique, in that we're taking a integrated approach. So that wellness journey that you referred to becomes very important, because a lot of people don't understand, or may not understand, that it's, even though it's National Sugar Cookie Day, that reading ingredients is actually quite important. And we always say, if you can't pronounce the ingredient that's on your massive list of the label that you purchase something in the grocery store, then perhaps consider, is it actually healthy and good for me?
Something I've never noticed, a product coming out of a farm that I couldn't understand or spell or read the words. But we're going to talk more about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. More with Dr. Dave and Dorothy, more about the Care Exchange. Love this. We're going to get further into it. And we're going to talk about the new rule: starter homes go to families first. Wall Street gets on the waiting list this time. All that and more. Reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Mortgage 101. Yeah, we're going to go a Mortgage 101 today, brought to you by rsrloans.com. Tomorrow, the biggest housing law in 36 years is set to take effect, and most of the people it was written for, first-time home buyers, have no idea it exists. Let's fix that in the next few minutes. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Let me ask you something. When was the last time Washington agreed on anything? The Senate passed this bill 85-5. I guess 10 of them were taking the day off. The House passed it 358-32. Those numbers do not happen anymore. Republicans, Democrats looked at the housing market and came to the same conclusion. We don't have enough homes, and the ones we have cost too much. It's called the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. 12 titles, more than 50 provisions. The New York Times says it's the most significant housing bill since 1990. Now, one honest caveat before we go further. As I record this, the bill is sitting on the president's desk. He has until tomorrow, that'll be July 10th, because we're recording this on the 9th, to veto it. If he does nothing, it becomes law automatically. Most observers expect it to go through, and with vote margins like those, Congress could override a veto anyway. But until tomorrow, technically, the ink is not dry. Keep that in mind. So assuming it becomes law, what does this mean for you? Especially if you've been sitting on the sidelines watching prices, wondering if you'll ever own a home. Let me walk you through the 3 pieces that matter most to a first-time buyer. Number 1, small mortgages are coming back. Here's a problem nobody talks about. Try to get a mortgage for under $100,000 today. Good luck. Lenders avoid them because the paperwork costs the same as a jumbo loan, but the profit is tiny. So the affordable homes that do exist sit out of reach because nobody will finance them. This new law creates an FHA pilot program specifically for small dollar mortgages. Now, I'll be honest with you. Here in Southern California, a $100,000 home is a unicorn. This provision will matter far more in other parts of the country than it does in our market. But if you're helping a family member buy in another state, or looking at a manufactured home, or thinking about markets outside California, this is a real door opener. Number 2, you have the right to challenge a bad appraisal. And this one matters everywhere, including right here. Picture this. You find the home, you negotiate the price, and then the appraisal comes in low and the whole deal wobbles. It happens every day, except in VA loans. And studies show it happens more often to some families than others. Under this law, lenders on federally backed mortgages must have a clear process for you to request a second appraisal or a reconsideration of value. That's not a favor anymore. That's a procedure with your name on it. Number 3, fewer all-cash investors bidding against you. You've heard the stories. A young couple makes an offer on a starter home, and they lose to an investment firm that owns thousands of houses and pays cash in 48 hours. This law restricts large institutional investors, the ones who own 350 or more single-family homes, from buying up new single-family houses. There are exceptions, and the rules are still being written, but for the first time, the federal government has said starter homes should go to families first. And there's more behind those 3. The law pushes cities to approve more homes faster. It gives manufactured housing its biggest upgrade in decades. It even makes it easier for landlords to accept housing vouchers. Now, let me just be straight with you, because that's what I do. This law is not a magic wand. It spends no new money. Many programs are pilots. Prices will not drop next month. Anyone who tells you otherwise is selling something. But here's what I've learned in 4 decades in this business. The buyers who win are not the ones who wait for perfect conditions. They're the ones who understand the rules of the game before everyone else does. The rules just changed in your favor. The question is whether you'll be ready when these programs open for business in your market. And speaking of being ready, one way buyers compete with cash offers today without waiting for any new law is our certified buyer program. It takes you beyond pre-approval, so sellers treat your offer almost like cash. You can learn more at rsrlinks.com/certified buyer, rsrlinks.com/certified buyer, because that's the real lesson here. Strategy beats rate always. It's about knowing which doors just opened and which one has your name on it. If buying your first home is on your mind, even if it feels years away, start now. Go to rsrlinks.com/FTHB. That's rsrlinks.com/FTHB. You'll find my first time homebuyer resources, and we can map out exactly where you stand, what these programs could mean for you. Every meeting is on Zoom, so you can do it from your couch. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. That's Mortgage 101, brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com. Continuing our conversation this morning, we are chatting with Dr. Dave and Dorothy Shearer. We're talking about some new ideas. Now, I didn't mention this. Dave, you might have mentioned this before, but I like to throw this in frequently. We're talking to medical professionals today. We are not here to give medical advice. Go to your doctor for medical advice. They know you best. So we're talking in general. We're here to educate you, and maybe it'll give you something to go. I have a doctor recently. He said, hey, I know you're going to go to ChatGPT to look up everything I tell you, and then we can talk further about it. Do your homework. But remember, everything you read or see on the internet is not true. I know that you've been told it's all true, but it's not. Everything you see on ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or Perplexity, Gemini, any other name you want to call it, go and get professional guidance. You can use those to ask good questions, maybe to get some background, but your health is more important than just going online and trying to it's not like going to Home Depot and finding you got the wrong screw. Right? You can't just change it. So let's get back into our conversation, talking about so before we went to break, we were talking. It's kind of ironic that you made the comment, Doc, about the idea that if you can't understand what's in the ingredients, if you can't pronounce it, maybe you should wonder about it. But I was at a doctor yesterday, and they started asking me about the medications I'm taking, and heck, every medication now seems like it's a generic. When you get the brand name, you might understand. I understand what high blood pressure means. I can guess that, and then they come up with mesocerathiol, 17 syllables that I think the doctor had to practice that longer than he went to medical school. But so how do you deal with some of these things when you can't get away from, all these crazy words that are in your food? What do you do?
So it's knowing where it comes from. So if you go to the grocery store, more than likely, you're going to have a lot of things on the shelf that you cannot read. So if you know where it comes from, like you were saying earlier about going to a farm, it comes from the earth. And that's where all the nutrition and so forth. And then we need some help as far as supplementation, because you cannot eat enough to get the nutrients that you need.
I've tried.
But Ron, there's an imbalance that exists, and I'm just going to call it out. A 16-ounce bag of chips costs about $6. An apple costs over $1 now. So you just put that in perspective. It's really amazing. And we talk all the time about how a fast food restaurant exists, multiple, in fact, in a specific city, but yet you have to travel outside or catch a bus to go to a healthy food market. So it's one of perspective. And I think that the more we take into consideration and learn, about ingredients, about the journey, about healthy living, I think it just starts with that one step of realization.
And
Yeah,
healthy
you're
living-
exactly right. And ironically enough, back in 2007, and I talk about my journeys all the time on the program, so I don't have to worry about HIPAA because it's me. So in 2007, I had bariatric bypass surgery, and I have stayed in contact with my bariatric surgeon for all these years and become friends with them. And one of the things that we learned there was when you go to the grocery store, stay on the perimeter of the store. Right, that's where you're going to find the produce and the fresh fruit and meats and fresh meat, not the processed stuff. So along the perimeter of the store is probably going to be the healthiest. And I don't go to the grocery store very often anymore, but it seems like it's still the case. Do you find that as well?
Because you have to walk further to get there. It's amazing. So you get your exercise and your healthy food at the same time.
All at the same time. So let's transition a little bit because we talked a little bit. We started a little bit about the concept of insurance and care exchange that you're launching. Explain what that is a little bit.
Yes,
formula.
and regards launching, we're hoping to launch within the coming months here. So we're getting closer to start. So we're really building excitement now, which is what makes this timing really, really important. Dorothy just said it. Care exchange is a formula. Care times change. So some thought really went into that. And within our book, The Life Wellness Collective, we devote a whole chapter on the care exchange formula because there's a lot to it. It's our wellness, it's our journey, it's our healthy foods, it's our taking care of ourselves. It's also the medical allopathic side and how
Wait, Doc, you got to go backwards because I'm a simple guy. Medical allopathic. What does that mean?
Allopathic is more traditional medicine versus holistic, alternative.
Naturopathic.
Okay.
And what we're putting together with Care Exchange and why it's so unique, Ron, is because it's an integrated solution. We believe that allopathic plus holistic, traditional medicine plus more alternative, that combination really is your kind of secret sauce there that works really, really well and gets to root cause, because that's what we're trying to impact through education, through treating our bodies with the kindness and respect of God's goodness that's been given to us. We can actually make a difference, get to root cause, and start to have an impact on wellness overall.
That's interesting because you say that, because as I've gone through certifications and learning through the peptides, it's amazing how much that comes into the conversation that God built this tremendous machine called our body. And we've done a whole lot of stuff to try and sabotage it. So I want to talk to you more about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message. And I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Hey, this happens all the time. I talk a lot. You probably noticed. So in many instances, I'm not going to give you our story for the Your Credit Matters today. But what I am going to do is tell you that Your Credit Matters segment is brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free. And we are coming out. I think it's going to come out this weekend. We got some few finishing touches to go on there. 25 different scenarios or methods of getting completely debt free. And we're going to show you all of those and see which one might be right for you. Your Credit Matters, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt free. Continuing our conversation, Dr. Dave and Nurse Dorothy were chatting with them this morning about maybe a new and maybe I'm not going to maybe new is the wrong word, because when I looked at some of the pre-show notes that we have, it's something that I talk about on Ron Siegel Radio a lot, is that we've gotten away from so much of our traditional values in our country. We've gotten so polarized that either you're good or you're bad. It's not just that we're all Americans, and and we can have commonality. And I saw the commentary about restoring faith and prayer, and I think my opinion again is, because we've gotten away from that, we've lost so much of the goodwill and being humans. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what one's religion is, it's just having that responsibility to the higher being, higher power. Is that something that you're building into this exchange?
Yes,
absolutely.
And love and belonging is, we're human beings. We want to have connection. We want to feel that. That's so important. And post-COVID has really isolated so many people. There's a higher incidence of so many chronic diseases because of it. Not sitting together and sharing a meal, praying before you eat the meal. But, the concepts that we're talking about are very simple, but they're not easy. And it's just one step at a time. But that love and belonging is really, really paramount.
I'm going to throw in one extra step that I think, because I believe COVID, you're right, did a great disservice. The other thing that I'm going to throw in there is these devices. I sit with people and watch all the time, and you can see people sitting in a restaurant, and there's 2 or 3 people, and they're all on their phones. Right. Well, put the bloody things away and talk to each other. I mean, maybe they're texting each other while they're at the table or something. I don't know, but the between that and how I submit that half the things I see on social media, a person would never say face to face to another individual. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think getting away from some of those things and going back to what you're saying is, sharing that meal, loving one another, having a great community, going to temple, going to church, whatever your belief is. Those are all big, big steps. Does that help the wellness of people?
Yes.
We believe it does. We believe the power of prayer and faith makes a tremendous difference. And we've actually put it into our book as well. It's part of the formula that we've derived. And we've treated patients. We've been involved in healthcare systems. We've seen people live that should have died from our perspective, and died that we thought should have lived. So it's really amazing how all of that kind of comes together. But the power of faith has really impacted our lives through the years. And with that, I think it's vital to our health and wellness. It's mind, body, and spirit, all three.
And the foundation is people helping people. So you have to have a mentality of fair-mindedness and sharing. So if you're coming into an entitlement personality, this wouldn't be for you. And the other thing is to be living healthy, to get up in the morning and just listen, be grateful, have a purpose, drink water, eat food, share love. That is so important. Have a hug. My dad is going to be 101 in a couple of months.
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
And he's fully alert. He's a marvel. And I had to mention my father. My mom was very, very proactive back in the day when chiropractic was a no-no, and vitamins and healthy living. I come from a very large family, and fair-mindedness was part of our family dynamics and still is. So I think that's very, very important.
So tell us about the Care Exchange. Do I still need my regular insurance if I'm part of this program or this group?
So Care Exchange is not insurance.
Okay.
So just start with that, Ron. Many people who are part of other health care sharing ministries may have supplemental insurance in addition to it. Some do not. I think it varies based on the individual and what their perceived benefit is from the program that they're involved in.
What is the benefit that I should be looking for, or who's your target that should be part of the Care Exchange?
Someone who really is concerned about themselves, their overall health and well-being. Someone who's just conscientious in that manner, someone with that sharing mentality, someone who is faith-minded or curious. Are they curious about faith in general and maybe changing their lives in how they've been acting versus how they want to act and conduct themselves in the future?
But also after age 26, you no longer can be a dependent on your parents. So it could be that young entrepreneur or somebody who's going to school, and the insurance premiums are very, very high. So this is an alternative to insurance. We are not insurance.
So help me understand what the difference is and what between the two of them.
There's no middleman, number one.
The biggest one is cost, Ron. So by going more with direct pay and reducing that middleman aspect of insurance, we're able to really provide a more affordable approach to healthcare. And again, this is where the power of the community, voluntary sharing, really comes into play. When we look at the overall cost of healthcare in general, we were amazed. 1 year ago was 4.3 trillion in terms of an estimated annual expenditure. Now it's closer to 6 trillion in terms of 2026 estimates.
And we're not healthier.
And yes,
that's the worst part, right? We're not healthier.
Inpatient admissions have increased 5%. Outpatient doctor visits increased by 10%. Actually, our overall GDP increase is about 20% of our GDP is healthcare.
Is that just because we're getting older, or is it because of costs?
It just shows or speaks to chronic illness as well as costs. Many of our newer medications are much more expensive.
It's amazing. Well, hopefully we'll be able to figure out how to get medications down so we're not subsidizing the rest of the world. But I guess that's got part of our community.
And this is where our integrated philosophy comes into play. By taking that health journey walk with us, with Care Exchange, working with education, there's a realization that while the allopathic approach is good, there's also this integrated approach that we're talking about today that avails a healthy journey and a realization of when the more traditional medicine is needed and when it's not.
Prevention. So if we prevent the chronic diseases, then you wouldn't have a pill for an ill. You would be living for wellness. And it's just a total different mindset.
I have a chiropractor friend of mine that's constantly says, well, you get a pill for your high blood pressure, but that has a side effect. So you get a pill for the side effect, and that has a side effect. So you need a pill for that one too. So it's a vicious circle. We only have about a minute left. How do we reach out to you, and tell us again the title of the book?
The Life Wellness Collective it's available through Amazon, and careexchange.org is the name of our website. So yes, please reach out with any questions or comments.
And when is your anticipated launch date?
We're shooting for the latter part of August.
Awesome.
Right now we're taking wait list.
Okay, beautiful. So and on the website, you can get on the wait list?
You can, yes.
Okay, and it's scrolling along the bottom of our screen right now. Care, the letter X, and then change.org. Care, the letter X, and then change.org. And we certainly appreciate you coming on and sharing with us. Look forward to watching your journey, and maybe you'll come back again and give us an update after you've launched and see how we can help in your mission. And as always, we ask.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
We'd love that, Ron.
Thank you. As always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.